Hello and welcome to the Faces of JAF. Today I am joined with Julie Ann Chase, who is a patient inspiration to our organization and has really, lifted us up in this difficult time that we're experiencing in the COVID-19 pandemic. Julie met the organization a little bit over a year and a half ago. So Julie, can you tell us what your journey was in the beginning of your cancer diagnosis and what that diagnosis did for you when it comes to the financial barriers that you faced as an individual?
Sure. Thank you, Jen. I was diagnosed almost exactly 2 years ago. I was diagnosed with an aggressive form of breast cancer, trying to work full time at the same time, trying to interact with doctors and tests and going to Boston. I live up in Maine, and so everything just became intense very quickly. And one of the things that really happened quickly was that the bills piled up. Even though I had had some health challenges in the past, they had always been spread out throughout the year. And I don't think I ever met my copayment or my deductibles. And so it just seemed like the bills that I had with the job that I had and the insurance that I had, they seemed doable. But with my cancer diagnosis and surgery, I had a bilateral mastectomy and reconstruction, and then the chemo and everything that comes with it. The bills came in so fast and furious and all at once. And I didn't even know what to do. Here I was, I actually work for a foundation. I work for a college. I'm used to providing scholarships for students who have need. A lot of my outside work had to do with fundraising or going on mission trips or supporting others who were at risk for being in a vulnerable population. And all of a sudden, I was one of those people. I really didn't know how to handle that ego-wise, emotionally, spiritually. Everything about it was very strange. And so I had remembered that there was a social worker at the hospital tied to the cancer center. I went to talk with her, and mostly I just thought I was going to just talk about my feelings and just have somebody to talk to. And she's the one that said, there are some financial resources. And I said, no, I have a good job. Like, I won't qualify for anything. And she said, well, actually you might. There, for breast cancer in particular, there are a lot of foundations that do provide support. And then she said, and there's this other one called Joe Andruzzi Foundation, and I think that you would be a good match for them. And so I'll do the application. It has to come from me. But she took care of a bunch of applications, and I didn't really give it a whole lot of thought. I was just drowning in trying to survive, dealing with pain, chemotherapy, trying to figure out what to tell my boss about work. And all of a sudden, I found out that I was qualified for a grant. It was more than the financial piece of it that was a light for me. It was feeling like I was a part of a team. And I didn't know really how long it would take for me to be a part of it, but I knew, like, in here, that was meaningful in my life. And it has been. It was more than getting help with some payments. It really felt like somebody was putting their hand out, putting their hand around me and saying, I've got you. And so that's why I just said, tell me how I can help you moving forward now that I'm feeling a little bit better. I still have treatment every month, but I think it's important to give back. And I can't do a whole lot. I can't write a big check, but I just know, and I want people to know, that this foundation is just full of love and full of heart.
You are a shining light for us, and you are an inspiration because the resiliency that you have to be diagnosed 2 years ago, my gosh, that's life-changing. I know just from being a caregiver of a cancer patient, right, that's life-changing. And it's almost like you relive that month and those days that it actually happened, even though it's 2 years, 12 years ago. Nobody asked for cancer. Nobody plans for it. And now we're entering this new time, COVID-19. My God, like, whoever knew, like, we would be here. I know as an organization, we kind of are taking that step back to say, we provide this service to healthcare partners and to patients and families by helping with the cost of cancer, by helping with home and bills. And what's going to happen in these coming months is that we're going to see those numbers go up as, people are affected in different ways. As a current patient, still going in and getting treatment every month, your journey hasn't stopped. And now you're being faced with what is is that next new normal? How am I going into a doctor's office when people aren't supposed to be going in anywhere or leaving the house? How are you dealing with that as a patient?
My first time going to the doctor since all this happened was about a month ago. And at that point, I had already been self-quarantining for a couple of days. My doctor had taken me out of work. I was working from home because I actually have 3 risk factors that put me at a high risk for catching the disease. So I'd already been home for quite a while, had a sore throat. First of all, they changed my location for my appointment because they were consolidating all the cancer patients to one setting so that it could be really safe for the cancer patients. And when I got there, there was somebody at the door. I couldn't even go in the building as a patient. She wanted to know how I was. And I told her I had a little bit of a sore throat. And so she sent me back to my car. And there was a question about whether or not I was even going to be seen. So this is for my monthly IV therapy, blood work, and I had a new lump on one of my breasts. It was supposed to be checked. And she was telling me that I might not be able to come in. So I got back to my car and I cried. They give me a mask. They finally came out to the car and got me. And it was kind of like good news, bad news. It was almost like being led by Secret Service. They whisked me through the cancer center to a treatment room. And instead of me being out in the room, anyone who's gone through chemo, a lot of times you're in a large room where there's lots of chemo stations and everything. They brought all the treatment into the treatment room for me. So I didn't even get to have that experience of just being with other people in a large room because even though I only had a sore throat, it was out of protection for everybody else there, never mind myself. So that was hard. They then sent me directly to the hospital to have an ultrasound at the hospital. And so again, went through all the precautions, and it's, you have a lump in your breast and you're a cancer patient and you go into the hospital and it's overwhelming. So I got through it. Everything as far as the lump was benign. I do need surgery, but like many cancer patients and other patients, it's not considered something that has to be done right away. And so when you were talking before about cancer patients and maybe having more need coming up in the future, I think part of it will be because so many people have lost their jobs or lost their insurance. But I also think for many of us, surgeries are being delayed. And so at some point when the hospitals start opening, I think that a lot of treatments and surgeries will get scheduled. And so I think that's going to cause another spike with bills for people that it's hard to calculate when that'll happen. I've done all of my appointments this month since then virtually, done telemedicine with the breast surgeon and with the oncologist with my primary. It's a new world. But honestly, one of the things that I've discovered is this kind of communication, like on the screen, as weird as it felt at first, it almost feels a little bit more intimate. And so I've been really thankful for my care team, and I consider you guys part of my care team, for sure. I know you have my back. I have to go to the cancer center tomorrow for my monthly treatment, and I can feel myself right now. I'm getting anxious. I don't know. Maybe I need to bring my football with me tomorrow or something.
There you go. So, there you go.
But I think I know that I'm a lucky person. 2 years out right now, I'm doing okay. But it's still really a lot of anxiety. And I know that you say that your foundation was there to help families and help keep them in their homes and help them with their bills. But I do think it's so much more than that. It's just having that kind voice and those messages and those newsletters and your positive posts on social media. Those are important. And it's isolating to be a cancer patient no matter what. But now so many of our support systems aren't there.
Yeah. Sometimes you try and put yourself in somebody's shoes and what you're going through, Julianne. Like I just can't imagine how difficult it must be for you and challenging and scary. And you're right. JAF is right here. We got your back. So you be the quarterback and we'll be your offensive line. Thank you so much. And we truly love you. So thank you so much.